Oh!
We're recording.
All right, we'll just leave it go.
Might as well roll with it.
Yeah. Friends?
Yo! We're back. It's snowy again. Not a snow day, though. Because...
I don't know
why. Compared to yesterday, it's a little bit more nasty. But
yeah, this is the day after the ice day when they closed all the schools.
yeah. Western included, Western and Fanshawe.
Yeah, which never happens.
Yeah. But hey, we're here. Hashtag no days off for the Fitness Experiment podcast. I hate myself I said that. It had to come out. You're feeling inspired?
They've been listening. They understand it.
That's right.
They get it.
Yeah. Man.
We should, I think I know what you're going to say. I was going to say we should give a shout out to WOD Prep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Give us a little shout out. WOD Prep, if you haven't heard of that, we've talked about it a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
But they're definitely the be-all, end-all of skill progressions for the sport of CrossFit. Their whole, or I guess maybe I can say our whole, since I'm one of their coaches. I don't really, this is Ben's thing, but the whole idea of WOD Prep was to take someone who's a scaled athlete and help them advance their skills to be an RX athlete. There's programs for all, mostly gymnastics movements is the programs that they have. However, they do have a ton of free online resources in terms of fault fixer videos for different things. Like the most common, like chicken wing bar muscle up, like how to eliminate that.
Yeah, I was going to say, even for people who have all the movements, I think it's an awesome resource to come back to things and perfect the technique of those movements.
Yeah.
Because everyone will get to this point. You get to a moment in whatever your athletic ability with CrossFit, maybe you have all the movements, but you know full well that you have a couple movements that you could clean up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a great tool to do so, because you can keep telling yourself every time you go into the gym, all right, today I'm going to work on this movement, kind of break it down into its individual components and kind of perfect that. But I don't think it's pretty hard to make yourself do that and actually lay out a plan to do so unless you have something like WOD Prep to help you through and guide you through that.
Yeah, for sure. And there's different levels, but I find it would be even more beneficial for, say, the strong individual, someone who comes into CrossFit already strong and can just battle out handstand push-ups and pull-ups.
Muscle out everything.
Yeah, it's they're doing it, but obviously the skill could be refined a little bit more. It really brings everything back to the fundamentals and just the foundational shapes that you need for gymnastics. It's super solid for that. But yeah, Ben gave us a shout out on his top 15 online resources.
Yeah, that's wicked.
And definitely appreciate that. Not expecting that sort of exposure for sure. Our listens went up 100% yesterday alone on our latest episode, which it's not a coincidence. That is 100% the reason. So yeah, it's exciting for us.
And there's some big names elsewhere on that list, so that's what makes it pretty cool. yeah, for sure. Yeah, WOD Prep has a solid team. They got CJ DePalma, the movement doctor. He's a super awesome physical therapist from Florida. I haven't really heard of too much else good to come out of Florida, but CJ's a pretty awesome dude. So, oops, sorry. He's awesome. Nice place to retire.
Yeah. And he was on the list as well. Gary is another great coach. Ben himself is an incredible coach. Brent from our gym is involved there. The back end team that he has for social media and marketing and all that stuff. There's top-notch people. And his mission is really sound. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes in terms of donating and providing for the community and helping out the CrossFit community and beyond that he never tells anyone about, but
yeah, very humble dude.
Yeah,
he was at our gym a few months ago for those people that don't know.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Hopefully he comes back again soon for the WOD Prep World Summit, or maybe we'll go somewhere warmer. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll just have it here in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool.
Which will be that'll probably start in about August at this rate.
Yeah.
Because we had 3-4 weeks of summer weather in the middle of winter And everyone's like, oh, this is awesome. No, it's not going to be this way. Now we're going to have winter till April.
A false hope.
Yep.
False hope.
Global warming doesn't exist, though.
Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Why don't we fall off?
Speaking of dumb beliefs.
The internet is on a roll lately. It's so much fun. Thanks for all the content ideas,
it's true,
internet.
It is fun. It makes things easy.
Yeah, for sure. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's, Jillian's at it.
Yeah.
Jillian's at it. Big time.
Jillian Michaels is
a
big one that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and if you want a good laugh, Make WODs Great Again, Instagram account, gold, pure gold. Just relentlessly putting out the memes about Jillian Michaels, and they're all on point. They're all hilarious. Or just follow. I mean, Jacob Hepner has a hilarious one right now. Joe Scally has a funny story going on right now. All this stuff will probably be gone by the time you guys hear this, but I don't know. Might be able to.
Do you follow Lane Norton?
Yeah.
Have you seen his? So on Instagram, where you have that place where you can save stories, he has what's he call it? BS monitor or something like that. Have you seen that?
No.
So basically he calls out an Instagram account with the ones I've seen thus far are pretty big accounts. They have I don't know, over 25,000 followers or whatever. So health and fitness related account. But he'll call one out who is basically doing Jillian Michael things, which is what we're going to show you today. Just spreading incredibly misleading information, which in many cases could be even harmful to people.
Yeah, for sure.
And he basically just calls them out and kind of exposes them. It's pretty aggressive, but in my opinion, it's a little bit what's the word? It's a little bit refreshing almost. That someone's actually finally doing that. Yeah. I get it. It's not the nicest thing, but at the same time, if these people are out there spreading stuff that, can legitimately be harmful to people. So I think it's, it is what it is.
Yeah. And social media is a platform for that mob sort of mentality, right? This Jillian Michaels thing is a perfect example. She says something about CrossFit, and the whole CrossFit community just goes up in arms, and there's so many different areas of attack for the community to get at Jillian Michaels. But you and I both know that that's intentional, right? No publicity is bad.
It's got to be intentional.
Right? I think she has over 1 million followers or whatever. Her reach is beyond anything that we could ever get to, really, due to her fame being on TV and things like that, right?
People who don't know her, you've probably heard of the show The Biggest Loser, I would think. I think that was kind of her big coming out party, wasn't it?
I would think so. Because she was crazy and just yelled at people.
Yeah, I don't really know her from anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And it was during that time period where, or at least I felt this way, maybe it's just because of the age I was at that time as well, but during that time period where reality TV shows were kind of just starting to get big and everyone was real into them, it was a new thing. Reality TV shows hadn't really been around for a long time yet.
It was Survivor,
Biggest Loser,
Fear Factor.
So a show like this was all right, this is awesome.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people at that time, not knowing what we know now, it was fairly inspiring for most people.
That's right.
To watch people find that success. It wasn't until people who were educated in the fitness and health realm started picking apart the tactics and the procedures and
that's a good point.
And the follow-up on these individuals that were taking part in this challenge, and
they've
the results.
I think you've seen it too. I wish I had it pulled up, but I know they've done some long-term studies on people who lost weight on The Biggest Loser. Mm-hmm. And the success rate, as in the amount of people who actually maintain that weight loss and then kind of move towards a healthy lifestyle long term, is let's just say it's worse than the amount of couples that stay together after The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. It's awful. These people, because like you said, the tactics they used completely messed them up. Yeah, it got some short-term weight loss, but all of these people put the weight back on and then some and developed some pretty serious metabolic and health issues.
Yeah.
I wish I had an actual stat I could give you, but I don't have it right now.
Yeah, it'll be the physical negative effects it'll have, and then I mean the mental. This is right in line with our podcast from last week, so I'm not going to start ranting about this again. This is a bigger picture thing. I was more mad about it last week because it's a local thing, and I thought we were better than that. This week, I mean, we're talking about somebody who we already know is like this, so it's not really like I'm not shocked to hear anything about this, and I'm not as personally upset about it because it's kind of expected from this individual. But it goes back to those challenge ideas, right? Like you can say whatever you want as the person hosting these challenges or pushing these challenges. At the end of the day, you have to really sit down and look at yourself and ask if you are doing anyone harm, because if the answer is even yes for one person, then you need to immediately stop what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the key question.
Yeah, just don't hurt people. Don't harm people physically, mentally, spiritually, and in any way, emotionally. Don't hurt anyone, and then it's fine. Right? If you're providing somebody a good service, whether it's $1 million or whether it's free, it doesn't matter. Right? WOD Prep is a perfect example, right? They have free resources that you can use, and those free resources are helping people, and that's it. Period. They're going to help people. They're not going to hurt anyone. He's not luring people in with free content, lying to them, spinning it. Yeah. Oh, this actually isn't free. Like you can go to YouTube right now at home, Google WOD Prep bar muscle ups, and you'll get a whole library of information that is completely free. There's no catch. If you want to pursue more services through WOD Prep, they have paid services, but that's not why the free stuff is up there. These challenges, free this, free that aren't actually free. That's the problem. This Biggest Loser thing that Jillian Michaels is on, I mean, is it a show still?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I mean, if it's not a show anymore, that kind of tells the whole story.
Yeah, well, and like if it's not still around, there's shows around that are basically the exact same.
Yeah. It's weird she has a big hate on CrossFit because Bob Harper? The other guy that was on that show? He's huge in the CrossFit.
Really?
Yeah, he's in it. Same with the other lady that was on the show. I forget. Kayla and I were talking about this last night. I forget the name. Because, I mean, she wasn't as out there as, Jillian Michaels. And then Bob was, like, a good character on the show. Yeah. He was just, like, a sweetheart kind of guy, so people were drawn to him. But, yeah, it's a little different. You got stats?
I can't find too many here. Still looking. No, I can't find any.
Nothing?
But anyways.
Yeah, it's accessible information people can look up.
I'm sure maybe we'll have it by next week or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, her words kind of tell the full story. We'll play one of her clips in a minute here.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe before you hear the clip, maybe you're thinking like, like you shouldn't be calling people out, but yada, yada, yada. But the problem is, like, no one ever would have really kind of, responded and called her out and sent some negative messages towards her if she didn't come out in the first place and say this stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what I don't like. Why do you have to come out and call someone out or an organization out, such as CrossFit, for absolutely no legitimate reason? In fact, for reasons that are like, they're laughable.
It's complete ignorance.
They're so laughable where it's at the point where, like, I honestly don't know, like, is she that dumb or is she just trying to attract more publicity around herself?
Yeah.
Like, she's either completely stunned or totally brilliant. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, right? From a marketing standpoint, brilliant, right? How much exposure is she getting from this in the CrossFit community this week? People outside the CrossFit community probably don't even know this is going on because they don't care, right? But she's now worked her name into a community that's growing every single day. Genius. But so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I might as well say this hour-long podcast, I'm just going to say gobbledygook metabolism, gobbledygook
Well, yeah, that's what we haven't mentioned that yet, is that she basically did the exact same thing towards a ketogenic diet and just like blatantly called it out for no good reason whatsoever, using rationale that makes completely zero sense. Like, same thing, completely laughable.
Yeah.
And, well, we know that that's like, in terms of the nutrition side of things, that's probably the most popular thing going right now. Mm-hmm. Might be the most popular thing to date, like, period.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't know, like, dumb or genius?
Maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, maybe a little bit of Kanye in Jillian Michaels. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, we saved this. It was probably like 5 years ago or so, Jillian Michaels came to London. She had a show at Bud Gardens. It was basically like, so at the time I was working at Good Life, and I forget how I managed to get my hands on these tickets. I feel like I bought them. I think the group of us went. But it was, you don't really know what to expect. It's Jillian Michaels' talk, right? But she has a big influence. She has a big following. So she rented like the Budweiser Theater, which is essentially half of Bud Gardens. I don't know how many seats that is, but it's a lot. And it was full. It was full for sure.
It's got to be like 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Got to be, for sure. And I mean, I'm looking around, and I would say the average person that was there, I was definitely in a minority in the group, at that time would be 20 years old, male. I was super skinny, right? Not fit by any means. This is like my early CrossFit journey for me. Yeah, I was just kind of transitioning from Good Life to West London CrossFit at the time. But you go on, listen, I'm looking around that most people middle-aged, female, overweight. If I were to say a number, I would say easily over 80% of people in the audience are that. And they are all over Jillian. Jillian is the shit. No questions asked. Whatever she says is 100% truth. Don't even bother arguing with it, because the answer is going to be gobbledygook metabolism.
That's what's frightening, yeah.
Right? And it's like, whatever she says, gobbledygook, just repeating, blah. You know that's what it is. Her whole speech was just her sob story about being overweight as a kid. Her parents were divorced. I'm gay. This and that. I'm like, boo-hoo. What are you doing? You have an opportunity to educate 4,000 to 5,000 people probably about the benefits of health and wellness, and you're just, oh, woe is me. And by the time we get through her sob story, which lasted like an hour, it's like, okay, congratulations. You know what I mean? Like, you're not alone.
Making millions of dollars, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has a story that'll break your heart. 5,000 people don't want to hear your story. Well, I guess they did. I'm like the whole time like, oh my God, dude, come on. We finally get to some sort of health and fitness related things. And she starts off with talking about fruits to avoid because of higher percentage of pesticide use. So any thin-skinned fruit. She was telling this, remember the demographic I'm talking about. She's telling overweight, middle-aged females to not eat apples and strawberries and berries because they absorb more pesticides because their skins are thin. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're talking to, like, the woman beside me is eating popcorn and drinking a Coke or Diet Coke,
so
whatever it is.
Sticking to the rule.
And I'm done. Like, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. You did it. But I'm like, I don't think this is the right message for this group. So, I mean, that's just my little history in my experience with going to a Jillian Michaels talk. Was basically just, it was a sob story followed by scare tactics about things that are hot. Like if you were to pick up Shape magazine at the grocery store on your way out, or Men's Health magazine, it sounded like she just read the latest edition, took all the headlines, and then just went gobbledygook and told everyone those headlines with no understanding at all of anything that was going on.
Yeah, well, sounds like not much has changed in the last 5-6 years by what she's spewing lately.
Gobbledygook. That's what she's spewing.
Should we play the first clip?
The CrossFit one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is hilarious.
It's only a minute long, so you can actually hear the entire thing.
Oh, it's so good.
Fully appreciate it. The best line is pretty early on, so pay attention.
Yeah.
Get the volume up here.
I have a few issues with CrossFit, which is not a secret.
It's funny.
So my issues with CrossFit are as follows. First of all, you've got maybe 20 to 25 movements that don't really vary, and you're doing them over and over and over again. So on one hand, it stops being effective because you're not challenging the body from various angles of push and pull with different varieties of exercises and different types of movement that work different modalities. And I know CrossFit, we work all the modalities, but no, not really. So shouldn't you choose a workout that has a little bit more flexibility and strength so you get more mobility, not just power, which is speed and strength? You get a lot of that in CrossFit. A little agility work, maybe some endurance training, so that you're training in a more balanced way, right? To keep the body changing and keep your training more holistic by hitting all modalities of fitness.
Oh, God.
That's great.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I just love at the end when she runs out of stuff, she's like, holistic. It's like a little twitch. She's like, I haven't said holistic in this video yet. I got to get it out.
on the buzzwords, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well.
So hopefully you caught the part where she said it's really only 20 to 25 movements. So you couldn't see the video, obviously, if you're a listener, but one of the things she apparently listed, from what I understand, in these, basic 20 to 25 movements was a sumo deadlift high pull. Did you see that?
Yeah. The forgotten CrossFit movement.
Like a basic movement there, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I mean, we don't have to say anything. She did it for us. That's
really
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Yeah. And it's just like, I posted this on Instagram in my story when this first kind of came out because, I mean, like, your ignorance towards something is not an opinion. Right? So she's like, I have problems with CrossFit. Okay. So but you've never done CrossFit. You don't even know what it is. You're literally listing the definition of CrossFit as you're saying it doesn't do these things. You're like, it doesn't do this X, Y, Z. Meanwhile, the definition of CrossFit is constantly varied functional movement performed at a high intensity across broad time and modal domains. All of the things that you just said that it does and doesn't do, it does all of them. That's CrossFit. Dude. Read a book, Or
go to a fucking gym or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, so 20 to 25 movements. I think if you look at today's group class programming at Westland and CrossFit, today alone, if you go through the warm up and then go through the actual workout, there's probably 35 different movements in there alone in one single day.
Yeah,
which is why I'm like, does she honestly think that? I don't know.
It's ridiculous. And even if you follow the most baseline CrossFit style, CrossFit methodology programming, which would be CrossFit.com, the main site programming, okay, busted.
Yeah. Just
at the most baseline level where they're cycling through task-oriented, time-oriented workouts, strength workouts, you print out a week's worth of programming from .com, from the main site programming, and there's more than, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so dumb.
Yeah. Check out some of her stuff online though. She's got some advanced kettlebell swings and
that's the
all
thing
sorts
too.
Of stuff that looks like it's herniating discs left, right, and center.
Yeah, if you're gonna come out guns a-blazing, you better go through your video library and clean that shit up a little bit, because it's just it's shooting fish in a barrel. It's not even fair. The nonsense. The best video I've seen so far is her advanced kettlebell swing, where basically it's like the worst kettlebell swing you've ever seen.
Yeah,
in your life.
It's like take 2 or 3 massive steps away from a wall, and then do a regular kettlebell swing, except lean so far back in between your legs that you're trying to hit the kettlebell off the wall. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it's almost like a high-speed Jefferson curl.
Yeah. Jefferson curls for time.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it's an advanced movement.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, my back hurt from watching it.
Yeah. It's just silly. And let the cult of CrossFit speak. It's so fun. The memes this week are just, it's a good time. Call out culture. I like it in these situations.
Yep.
Hang him out to dry. The thing is, for her, it's not going to make a difference, right? She's going to keep on keeping on. Her following won't even see this side of things because they're not involved in CrossFit, and it's not going to make a difference for her either way. All she's done is broken into another market. Obviously, we're not going to go for it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just a large a large number of her kind of faithfuls have started to maybe question her or leave her for something like CrossFit, or started to, I don't know, maybe eat in a way that kind of opposes her tactics and beliefs, and shifted towards keto. And if this is just her kind of, I don't know, response to that, or I don't know what it is. Like it's kind of, it doesn't make any sense.
No. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's really, really funny.
Yeah, so we won't play the keto video for you because it's a little bit longer. Won't make you sit through it. Like you said, it's more big bullshit talk and buzzwords, but I wrote down a few things in there that are pretty blatant. So if you do have a couple minutes, all you got to do is just type in Jillian Michaels YouTube keto, and then it's posted by, what's it called? I think it's called Think Big or Big Think, which I don't know much about, like what Big Think or Think Big is, but I was reading a few of the comments, and like some people were even saying like they were shocked that Big Think actually posted that, as if maybe they're like a semi-credible source beforehand, but by posting that they kind of just like put themselves through the toilet. But anyways, like her big spiel was that, so the one thing was that you're going to be extremely like nutrient deficient when you're on keto. So my guess is that she has a belief that it's like more of the dirty keto, where you're only eating the meat, you're only eating bacon, butter, you know, the bulletproof coffee, that type of thing.
Yeah, bag of almonds.
Yeah. Which, again, so this kind of debunks her other myth that she brought up, where she talks about how keto is only like 25 to 30 grams of carbs a day, which is true, which is how it is, but she seems to think that by limiting yourself to that number, well then you basically, like, that's nothing. You basically can't eat anything to stay under that value.
Yeah, you can only have half a cup of rice.
Like, yeah, but I mean, if I showed you a picture of the amount of vegetables that, and this is what I show at all my seminars, because people see 25 grams of carbs and they think, no way, that's bloody impossible. And then I follow that up with showing them a picture of what like 22 grams of vegetables look like. It's more vegetables than people eat in a day.
Right.
Vegetables. I can't say
vegetables.
That word. Vegetables. But yeah, it's pretty, like, it's like 6 to 8 servings of vegetables probably. I'm so excited I'm just munching my words together. But it's insane. So she obviously knows absolutely nothing about that. That's pretty clear.
Just a side thing, like, do you think that she thinks if you eat 25 grams of pepper, that it's 25 grams of carbs? Because that's honestly my concern.
It's
like,
possible.
I don't, like, people, this has happened before, people are like, oh man, I can only eat 100 grams of carbs a day, that's like an apple and like a pepper. I'm like, no.
They just match it.
That's not all carbs. Like, yeah. you gotta break the food down into its maybe that's what she thinks. Maybe that's why she's so concerned that you can have half a green pepper.
If that's what she thinks, then I'm sorry, Jillian. I understand.
Read a book.
So there's your micronutrients right there. More than most people get in an average day by eating less than 25 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
So, and then the other big one was that, basically that, actually, this is word for word what came out of her mouth, is that if you don't eat glucose, so if you don't eat, you know, over this number of carbohydrates, your cells are going to starve.
Yeah, that's a quote. That's a direct quote.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
And then she just mushed all that together with her mumble jumble that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Which, like, so I mean, that, again, right there, she doesn't know anything about glucose regulation or gluconeogenesis, which is just like, we have an ability to maintain our blood sugar levels in the absence of intake of carbohydrates. It's like one of the amazing mechanisms that the body has and is just able to do. So like, the liver can turn out blood sugar when you're not consuming high amounts of carbohydrates. Not to mention, most cells in your body don't even need sugar. Like, they can get energy from ketones. There's only like a few cell types in the body that can't use ketones to generate energy. One being red blood cells. I also learned the other day that there's some cells like in the retinas of your eyes. That is another one that can only use sugars. The brain cannot fuel 100% of its energy needs from ketones. But again, you can pump out like, I think it's something like 100 grams of glucose from gluconeogenesis per day. So like, you're going to be fine. Your cells are going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on that number, but the point is like, you know, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
There's a reason why someone, and especially someone who is obese, can survive for like hundreds of days without carbohydrates and even without food. Well, you know, they're just going to be fine for energy, and they're even going to have some resolution to a lot of underlying chronic illness by doing so. So, I don't know, Jillian.
Just wrong. That's all.
We forgot one thing. So this was our favorite part when we listened to the video beforehand. She said, there is 0 calorie restriction on a ketogenic diet.
Yes.
So, hey.
Sure.
All right.
I guess so.
People just eat ad libitum automatically when they're on a keto diet, I guess.
Yeah. As if that's not a rule for all other ways of eating. She's just talking crud, basically. Using the buzzwords, trying to get people to listen.
That's right.
What was that thing you posted the other day about, obese versus thin?
Oh,
Does that align with this in any way?
Yeah, it is. So, this is another thing I usually bring this up at seminars or online webinars, just to try and help people understand like what's actually going on in the body on a ketogenic diet, like to help them understand ketosis. So it's just a question, who do you think would survive longer on a desert island without food? Would it be an obese individual or would it be a lean individual? And most people think it's a lean individual, but for obvious reasons, but it's an obese individual. Because if you think about us as hybrid engines, we can burn gasoline and electricity. So we can burn carbohydrates or we can burn ketones. Well, when you're on a desert island, that gasoline isn't going to be there. We're just assuming this. There's no food that you're consuming, therefore you're not taking in any sugar. So therefore the person who can burn electricity the longest is going to be able to survive for longer. Well, the fat person has, you know, thousands and thousands worth of stored quote unquote electricity, stored fat, that they can turn into that electrical energy source, if you will, that they can turn into ketones. So the lean individual is going to burn through their stored fat much faster. Once they burn through that, they're screwed. The obese individual, they're going to be able to burn through their fat considerably longer than the lean person, and therefore be able to continue surviving. Because your cells can starve, you know, quote unquote, theoretically. Like if you're not eating for like 100 days, yes, you can starve to death, obviously. And so if you're looking at this extreme example, that's when it would be actually favorable to be obese versus lean. So it just kind of helps people understand like, okay, like I can actually generate a usable energy source from my stored fat. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think this is what frustrates me the most is when influencers like this make claims like Jillian Michaels has done over the last couple of weeks. She's kind of been on a bit of a roll here, just calling out different things. Is that like you have a platform that you can educate people the way that you just did, but I mean our listening is like maybe 1,000, couple thousand I think we're at. You know, like we don't have. She'll have millions of people see that video. Why not give them information? That's the confusing part. Like, there's nothing gained from her giving out false information about CrossFit, about the ketogenic diet, about whatever. Fill in the blank with whatever topic she wants to talk about. Why don't you just use it for good instead of the opposite, right? It's so easy. And if she doesn't know, then she needs to check her ego.
Exactly.
And get someone on who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about
if she
to
knows
explain what's going on.
If she knows that she's spewing poop out of her mouth, then I would call her a sociopath.
Yeah, we were on this last week. Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, because it's a failure to recognize the fact that you're hurting someone.
Yeah.
Right, and
or just not caring that you're hurting
just
people.
Zero emotional response to that.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening. That's the frustrating part. I don't get it. I don't get it. You have an opportunity to help so many people, and yeah, it's hard information to hear. Like the information that you pass along, it's not like cookie cutter. This is going to fit for everyone, but it shouldn't be that way.
No.
And I mean, what we're trying to do is the fitness industry can go in a very positive direction. Depending on what corner of the world you are in, it is always positive. It's when you go outside of our little corner where things start to get a little weird. And it's like, well, how can we make this better? Because lying to people to make a buck shouldn't be your driving force. Yeah, you got to make money. You're a professional, but you can do it in other ways. Imagine if she actually helped people, how much money she could make.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's
right?
if her ultimate goal is to make money, I don't think you have to take things in this direction to meet that goal.
That's right. You can do it a different way.
Feel a hell of a lot better about it too.
Yeah.
Do you think? Sometimes I wonder. Like, do you think these problems are as popular or as common in other parts of the world, or do you think
in different industries? Or
in the same industry, but outside of North America. Like I think that it's the worst here just because of the United States, basically. But then again, maybe I'm just, living in our little bubble here, and that's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my thought is we're obviously very privileged. Like we have. Yeah, being in North America and being in the top 1% basically in the world is, if you're living here, I forget the stat, I think it's a very small amount of money you need to make a year, like 20 grand or something. You're in the top 1% in the population of the entire world. That's pretty astonishing. So I think these are only first world problems, because people that are struggling don't have time to worry about this stuff that we have time to worry about, right? Like point. They're not on. Like, if you're listening to this, you're in the first world, right? If you can see Jillian Michaels' YouTube, you're in the first world, right? There's no debating that. So our problems are very different in terms of survival. We're trying to become less sick in the opposite direction of most people are trying to chase wellness by just having the minimum requirement for life. And we're like the opposite. We need to cut back on stuff.
So I think that's a good point. I think that's where the difference is. Because what comes to mind when I think about is there a difference, or like a lot of Scandinavian countries, like Finland, Sweden, I think of like Iceland, like
resources are lower.
Well, and I always think, they can't have this kind of problem there, where it's like, one, it's just this massively oversaturated market, and then two, to put it simply, there's just so much BS and basically what we talked about last week, so much BS and misleading crap out there. Yeah. And then I think, again, I don't know what the case is. Maybe if someone has some experience, if they've ever lived there, they can fill us in. But the reason I always think that maybe they don't have that problem there is because it seems like it's what you just said. We're trying to use, or most people here are trying to use health and wellness to kind of come back from disease and illness. Whereas there, it just seems more of like an everyday part of life. They just kind of accept it. It's like, I'm going to be active because I'm human type thing.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think through that approach, then maybe it means they're more educated. Maybe it means that people have better intentions, and then they don't have all the problems that we have. I don't know.
Yeah, there's I think it's called Strongland or something, a little documentary on Netflix about Iceland itself, and just how their culture is more built on, so their fitness culture is more built on how strong can you be, male, female, whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's about. And I mean, I think it would be hard to say that there's not the pressure of like model-like appearance in those countries, but I think it's laughed at a little bit more because the confidence is instilled in these athletes at a younger age, that their body's ability to perform a task is more important than how it looks.
Yeah.
And I think that's just embedded in their culture right away. And I mean, we got snow right now, but it's not dark half the year.
That's the crazy thing, right? So, there's some interesting stats where I believe it's in Iceland, a huge majority of people are technically genetically predisposed to experience depression, not only because of the climate, but because of some particular genetic markers that we've identified that we believe, again, makes you predisposed to experience depression. But if you look at the rates of depression, it's no comparison to here. Like, it's way lower, which makes, I mean, on the outside makes absolutely no sense because of what you just said. Sometimes they have like zero daylight.
Yeah.
But it's because they prioritize health and wellness and really optimize their health and nutrition.
Mm-hmm. There's some things that they say, it's kind of funny. It's like, if we were to go there as somebody from Canada or North America, we would view some things as an inconvenience and it's almost laughable to them. It's like, what do you mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah. A couple of friends, my sister has traveled to Iceland just on vacation to check it out. And yeah, it's just a different culture. It's like, I mean...
That's perspective.
It's perspective, yeah. For them, it's like... I mean, their food's very expensive too because... I mean, how are you going to grow something on a frozen rock? Yeah. Right? Like, it's... It's cold as shit and it's dark all the time. They don't have a whole lot of resources for greenhouses and things like that, so they have to ship in a lot of their food, which makes it very expensive.
That is bloody far north.
It's out there.
Oh, man.
I mean, they're tough, and I mean, their heritage too, just tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're Vikings.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
North Americans just depicted as soft, squishy people.
Which is accurate.
I wouldn't say it's wrong. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely a difference.
I believe it was maybe Sarah Sigmund's daughter or Katrin, I don't know, one of the two. I've just seen footage on them and they kind of talk a little bit about this and then how some things you just talked about physique and what it can do and whatnot, and they say that kind of their first times coming to North America, they notice that right away. Like, all of a sudden they feel people staring at them and looking at them and almost wondering, like, you're a girl, like, you're not supposed to look that way. And they're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Right? It's just something that has never been a conversation before.
Yeah.
People are weird, man.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Yeah.
That's such a thing, though. You totally feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to even sometimes, not the staring and looking thing, but just the, like, even being passionate about working out, wanting to go to the gym and that type of thing. Like, I definitely used to experience some kind of rebuttal towards that, I guess. And I don't even know if it probably wasn't even things that people say or did. It was just kind of like this almost belief and feeling that you have, I think.
Yeah. Just
from social media, television, media, I don't know, probably things people say here and there. I guess they add up. Like, it's just, I don't know, this came up a lot, especially in the younger days, like high school, where even if you want to get up on a Saturday morning or something like that, or a Sunday and like be active and go to the gym or something, people just kind of like give you that funny look and be like, what? Like, why would you work out on a Saturday? Like, that's,
yeah.
I think we've talked about this before, but
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It is, man. And you know where it's coming from. It's 100% a jealousy thing. And that's just the way people deal with their insecurities, is make other people feel bad.
It just sucks that at a young age you actually care. Where now, like, I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But at a young age, you definitely overthink it a little bit.
Yeah, I saw, I saw it on Facebook, so maybe it's not true, but there was a school that has made like a mindfulness class part of their curriculum, and a big part of the focus during that class is acceptance of yourself, and then they're doing little studies, obviously, because it's like a little pilot project of instances of bullying or instances of helping each other, just simple things, right? Like if somebody needs help on the schoolyard grabbing a ball, or needs help with their coat or help with their shoes, like, are these kids in this class more likely to help someone in that situation, or not? And then is bullying more common, like stealing toys from each other, or just talking trash to each other, quote unquote being kids, right?
Yeah.
Don't let your kids be shitty, really. Yeah. Right? Like that's where it all comes from, because these insecurities boil up and they turn into shaming people that are trying to be better. Where, I mean, for you being a kid, your response was probably pretty similar to theirs, like meeting their aggression and their bullying with a defensive aggression as well. Whereas, I mean, now you're at the point where if somebody were to say something to you, it's just, you'd laugh at them, and it wouldn't really change your day. But yeah, so, but you gotta check with yourself first. And it's so much like I mean, I'm sure you went to so many anti-bullying assemblies. That was a hot thing when I was in.
Did they do anything though? I don't know.
No, because all it was, it's don't do this, don't do that, instead of going to the root cause of the problem, which is helping kids be more confident in themselves. Kind of putting the cart before the horse, but
yeah. There's a cool book, I think it's called Spark, maybe. It's kind of it's similar. Tells a few stories of some pilot programs, I think in different parts throughout the United States, I believe. And they just sort of, they're like encouragement and sometimes even like their enforcement a little bit in the beginning anyways, for kids to be physically active on a daily basis is just like completely different. I can't remember the details, but obviously here it's sort of like, I don't know, I can't really say for certain what recess and all of that is like nowadays, but it seems like it's not only decreased in total time, which is ridiculous, but also, I guess the word is enforcement. Like, school organizations don't really care whether or not a kid participates in, I don't know, sports and recess and that type of thing. Maybe that's not a completely accurate statement, but I think kind of the overwhelming thing that I think everyone can agree on is that it's not really as much of a priority as it should be.
Right.
So anyways, back to this book, it's about these schools that I think they actually implement, like one maybe used like a running program where they kind of like keep tabs on kids and ask them to either go for like a extended walk or even like a run around the track or something for like 20 or 30 minutes before school even starts, I think was one. And anyways, they just look at all these different stats of things that change after that, and like their marks go way up, like feelings of like gratitude and appreciation and all of that goes up. And it's just like all of these positive benefits, which are no surprise, but it's just cool to actually see the statistics of it. They talk about a lot of the science in there. Like they'll actually talk about, it might be written by maybe like a PhD in neuro or something, I'm not sure, but they talk about a lot of like the pathways and mechanisms going on in the body, like of how running could like physiologically improve the health of your brain. And it's kind of just cool. They throw everything in there all together, and it's a good read, I think, for anyone, like even just like a casual read.
Yeah.
Kind of helps you appreciate like the power and the influence of, I guess, being active and wellness in general, including for kids' health.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to read the book to believe it, just get up. If you're sitting down right now, listen to the podcast, get up and do 10 burpees as fast as you possibly can, and then see how your mood changes when you're done. You're gonna be smiling. Even if you're like, I hated that, you're gonna be having a good time. It's just the way it goes. And
it's bizarre.
And you're listening, and you're like, no, man, you're talking. You're Jillian right now. You're talking trash. I stand by it. Do it right now. Pause this podcast. I mean, we're almost done anyway. Pause it. Do 10 burpees and then see how your mood changes. It's not a mystery.
No.
So the solution to the focus, right, and getting engagement and getting people to listen to what you're saying and things like that is to have them up and moving and active, not the opposite.
Yeah. There's been some pushback recently, well, in the last few years, I think, of people legitimately wanting to like almost completely cut out recess physical activity in schools for children because they want to give them more time to learn in the classroom. And this is another example where it's like, honestly, are people that stunned here? Like, do you honestly think that that's a good thing?
Mm-hmm. It's a value thing, right? Are you worried about... And it doesn't even make sense, right? I was about to say, do you want marks to be better or do you want people to be more active? But those two things go better together than apart. That's a confusing part.
Ask any teacher what their least favorite day to teach on is. It's going to be a day where there's no recess.
Yeah,
like where it's raining, where they have to stay inside and basically stay to the confinements of their classroom for most of the day.
That'd be so difficult.
Like there's you don't really need any more research other than that right there. There's a lot out there if you want to look.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty obvious right there.
Yeah, totally.
So
just got to move. Makes everybody feel better.
I don't even know how we got into that.
Me neither. We're almost done. Want to talk about the Open quick?
Yeah, we should. Because you'll hear this one day before the first workout gets released.
Yeah.
Or maybe a few hours before. Don't they usually do it on a Wednesday night?
Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday at 8 it'll be announced.
So a little more than 24 hours before.
Yeah. I mean, if you're involved in a CrossFit gym and you're at a CrossFit affiliate, the best thing to do is just to sign up.
Still need to do that.
Yeah, me too. I'm being a hypocrite. I haven't signed up yet. But I mean, I will be. The difficult... here's the thing. The focus for the Open is still the same it's always been, right? It's a global CrossFit community event. We're seeing how much the community is growing in terms of just overall size and then also fitness level. I don't think leaderboarding is really going to be too much of a thing this year, solely because I think a lot of the top level athletes aren't going to, not the top of the top, because the top of the top are going to be gunning for that top 20 spot to go to the games, right, or fittest in their country, using their passport, dusting off that old passport from their country of origin.
Yeah.
Seeing some Instagram posts about that today, and I mean, hey, all the power to you.
Yeah, go for it. You're
a citizen. You do your thing. It's all good, right? You gotta play your system. Go for it.
Yep.
But I think missing a big chunk of people at the top kind of makes leaderboarding a little bit more boring. I know like the top male athlete at our gym isn't going to be doing the Open this year, solely because he has multiple opportunities throughout the year to do qualifiers to qualify for these sanctional events. And from his experience at Fittest in Cape Town, he's like, that's a games-like environment. I would do that all the time.
Yeah.
Well-run, high-level athletes there. I mean, if you do that multiple times a year instead of just focusing on the CrossFit Games, knowing that maybe CrossFit Games, like you're not going to win a sanctional event, you're not going to be top 20 in the world, so the games now are kind of not a focus anymore. It gives those middle ground people more to look forward to.
Yeah. That'd still be pretty wicked. Travel around the world, see some places, compete.
Yeah, for sure. And high level stuff. I mean, the athletes that are there, they're super legit. It's so hard to qualify for an event like that. It's incredible to do that. It's like a global qualifier. You're not just competing against people in your area in a smaller sample size. It's pretty intense. But I mean, for the everyday gym goer, it's fun. If nothing else, it's going to be the best 25 and some change Canadian dollars that you're going to spend this year, because you get 5 weeks of fun workouts. There's a buzz in the gym. You know, you get the guessing game going on. What are the movements going to be this week? What's the workout going to be this week? Then the workout comes out and you're talking about that. Then Friday we throw down. We do the Friday Night Lights thing at West London CrossFit. I think a lot of other gyms do that too because of the sole reason for the open, which is fun. Yeah, it's competitive. That makes it more fun, right? If people didn't care, it wouldn't be fun. Nobody would do it. People care. People are competitive. Right. Makes it fun. You got a leaderboard. You got people to compete against side by side.
Just chat with your buds afterwards about how the workout went.
Yeah, speculate.
I don't know what that is, but it's... You ever have like a really tough workout where you kind of... Something like the open, you know and you feel like you kind of gave it as much of an effort as you possibly can, yada, yada, yada. For some reason, you just want to talk about it with people afterwards. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah. You're just riding that high.
Yeah, that's what it is, I guess. You're just in such a good mood, you want to chat.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's not too complicated.
If people come... I mean, it's a moving thing. I mean, it comes back to that too, right? Just
because it's not just CrossFit. Like, you can get that with... Definitely after, like, a game, sports event, whatever. Big game, feel good, pushed hard. You definitely have that same feeling afterwards. Want to chat about things and reminisce.
And when you find success in that, like going to a hockey dressing room before an important game and after an important game, whether you win or lose, that environment after the game is completely different.
That's really why it's so addicting. That's part of it, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, sign up for the open because it's fun there.
Yeah.
Summed it up into one thing. It never meant anything for the majority of us. I mean, the top 1%, it meant a lot to. The rest of us, it was just a fun fitness time with our friends, and that was it. And that's what it's still about. Nothing changes on our end. You're going to be able to watch lots of announcement videos. I saw Brazil CrossFit Championship release that they're going to be doing a 19.1 announcement video just after the workout gets dropped. So that's one already. I'm sure we'll be seeing a heck of a lot more. I mean, it's like going to the casino. You bring $20 in your pocket, you know, you're just donating it. And if you win something out of it, then great.
Yeah.
And the win out of it could be your first ring muscle up, your first toes to bar, your first 135 snatch. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of first, and like that is winning the lottery, but you can do it over and over and over and over again. And that's where this stuff gets addictive.
Yeah.
But it's only the same 20 to 25 movements, so I mean...
It's fucking boring. Yeah, and if you're if the main thing holding you back is being anxious or nervous, well then you just know you're alive and that's normal and everyone feels that way, then who cares?
Yeah, everyone feels exactly.
If you don't feel that way, then check yourself.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun. You just gotta embrace the nervousness.
A little nervous
and
energy.
Embrace the extra trips to the washroom, you know? Like,
who
cares? Pack some baby powder in your gym bag, whatever you gotta do. Cold bond.
Those are that's strategizing time.
Yeah.
Right? You're by yourself, probably. I don't know.
So. Yeah.
And you just get to chill, scroll the gram, find out some extra last minute tips and tricks. I mean, resources for strategy. We're going to be releasing videos every Thursday night. Brent Teasma and I have a nice little date at the gym, and we cover all things CrossFit Open for the gym and for WOD Prep. So those West London CrossFit would be a good follow on Facebook and Instagram. Mm-hmm. WOD Prep would be a good follow. It's going to be a hot topic for you too with nutrition and stress and all that stuff. So your handle, which will be at the bottom of wherever you're listening to this podcast, it'll be on there. And then I'm just going to share links to those other things. But I mean, if you want to follow my Instagram, then
I usually follow Dave Castro for like 2 months of the year. And then unfollow him. So I'll probably refollow him this week because he always drops absolutely meaningless hints that are completely irrelevant.
Yeah, man, I hope he still does that because that's so funny. Yeah. He's just trolling everyone. It's great. I hope some things stay. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes, but I hope some of the golden nuggets stay.
That's a wrap.
We're so good at timing this stuff.
I know. 59:20.
Boom.
I don't have to tell you. You can see the timer.
All right.
Yeah. Drive safe out there. Even though maybe by this time the roads will be bare.
Hopefully.
So that was a dumb thing to say.
All right. Catch you next time.
Yeah, good luck in the open.
Yeah.